is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast, and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got started up on the blocks. So I need you to start coming to start up on the blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally, and we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow. Send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Welcome to Startup on the Blocks, everyone. How's it going? Hello, Ngozi. How are you?
I'm good. Good evening. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Grove, I guess, is in another board meeting. He's running a little behind, so hopefully he'll hop on in a few minutes and give us that update. But in the meantime, I'm going to share my screen and get you familiar and the audience familiar with what goes on with Startup on the Blocks. Alrighty. So we're here, and we're here every Thursday night, and trying to give people an opportunity to network and learn the best practices for building and growing a startup. So we have to thank our sponsors who support us, and we're looking to bring on some more sponsors this year. Our biggest sponsor so far is for the year is Blacks in Technology. Are you familiar with them?
I am. I'm very much familiar with them. And I'm not sure if they are the same people, but they have a conference in Atlanta called Blacks in Technology Conference every year. So I'm not sure if it's the same people, but they do good work.
Yeah, so they I think there's Black in Tech and then Blacks in Technology. They have an annual, what they call BigCon. And I think this year is going to be in, I better not say because I can't remember exactly where it's going to be at, but the bottom line is it's an organization that if you're trying to get more Blacks into technology is really what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And the neat thing is it's no cost to join it, and once you join it, you're exposed to a lot of member benefits, and they have a lot of free training programs. Like I think they got the Udacity going on now, and we partnered with them to launch training for Black founders. Mm-hmm. And so BIT members will have the opportunity to hop on our Lean Stack platform and our Startup Sites platform and get the foundational training for designing a scalable business model and learning everything they need to do to prepare to get into an accelerator program or preparing to get funded. Industry Hotels, they've been sponsoring, I think they sponsored at least 3 of our pitch competitions. And yeah, and so the First Bank, they're back on board this year to support us. And FPL, they actually was our first sponsor for the Lean Stack learning platform there. And our streaming partner is Bantucola. They stream us to LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, you name it, they stream us to it. Yeah. So we're going to be all over everywhere.
That's the goal.
Yes, that's right. And last fall, we actually partnered with Startup Science. That's the little the green light bulb thing there, and they're the ones that do the Startup Science, the boss business operating system, startup operating system thing. And their platform is unique in that it was designed by founders that have been through 14 exits. And so like with eBay and companies like big companies like that. So they're the experts on knowing what you need to know to get access to capital.
Yeah, very important.
Yeah,
For a
so
co-founder.
that's really good. So why don't you take a second to kind of give a kind of like a brief introduction to yourself, and then we'll get into a little bit more detail later.
Sure. So my name is Ngozi Ahanatu. I am the CEO and founder of Hi Hat, but also I run a freelance content agency that actually works directly with early stage tech startups and tech companies that need content and just need to really be able to put themselves out there. Sometimes SEO content, sometimes social media, sometimes white papers, infographics. So we work directly with tech startups on their content needs. That's what I've been doing for the long term. But I recently founded Hi Hat, and it's been great so far.
Fantastic. Well, we're glad to have you here, and we definitely want to learn more about both of your ventures there and how they can support us in the future. Like help founders in the future. And so that's good. I see Grover is coming on. Well, Grover, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Lord. How are you doing?
Oh, fantastic. I want to, we're doing a little refresher here on the Startup on the Blocks, and Ngozi just introduced herself. And if you like, you can go ahead and do a little quick, brief introduction.
Sure.
Go right ahead. Sound like you're having a little technical stuff there, Grover. We can't hear you if you're saying anything. We'll let you go. Yeah, Grover, you're breaking up and everything. So we'll bring you off stage and see if you can get your connection back going there. Yeah, it sounds like he was coming in loud and clear when we did a little check earlier. So
yeah, I think he was trying to set himself up, but he'll be back soon, I'm sure.
Okay, gotcha. So he can hear us, so that's good. Yeah. So we work with founders and at the beginning stage, when they're thinking about starting a startup, and what we want them to understand is that you have to have start off with a good mindset, and in order to kind of take advantage of the opportunities in the ecosystem. But in order to get those opportunities in the ecosystem, you have to learn the skills and best practices for being a founder and building a startup, and that's what the deal is. And so we want to make sure you have access to that fundamental knowledge and training and skills that you need to tap into all the resources in the ecosystem. So let me see if Grover is getting back. Grover, are you there? Looks like he's still struggling there. Yes, and so let me get this thing going. Yeah, and so the journey, we like to look at it from several different ways. A lot of the ecosystem folks have programs, but they catch you when you're already got your business up and running. We like to get you when you're just thinking about it, so we can kind of get you through and learn these best practices, because you end up spending money when and your business model may be broken. So that's one way to kind of look at the ecosystem. Another way to look at it is the way the startup science folks look at it. They have these 7 phases that your business go through. And the neat thing about these guys is that when you start with the end in mind. You plan your exit at the very beginning. So you pick the company that's most likely to buy you out, and and you pick the company to follow, but it's a journey. You're just going through
Yeah.
the journey. And so we have what is called they have an academy of 24 courses, and you can take those courses and learn everything, all the key terms, everything you need to know to kind of communicate with the folks, the investors, folks in the ecosystem there. And so that's why we like the way they kind of look at things there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I went through my own accelerator with my alma mater, Georgia State University.
Okay.
Taken ideas and, pre-revenue startups, revenue startups. They take in all these ideas from their students and alumni, and they fund them with, a really good grant for them to go to the next step, whatever that step is for them. And during that program, we did cover a number of these things: our vision, our product market fit, go to market, how to optimize what we're building, and ultimately how to grow and exit. So those are definitely things that are needed if you want to be a tech founder, even a product and goods founder. If you're looking to really go to the next level, you definitely need to be in some sort of program or accelerator to make sure you're on the right track and you have all the resources and people you need.
Fantastic. So would you say that made a big impact on your journey?
It did, one, because my alma mater, Georgia State University, is very special to me. If I'm third generation Georgia State, my father was a professor, my sister was a very active student, and I've been going to the campus since I was like 10 years old. So wow. For me to have my first like real tech startup, and then they were the first people to believe in my idea and say like, we'll take it on and we'll help nourish you and help you really flush out how to really get revenue for the company. It was almost full circle because I'm now almost in my mid-30s, right? So it's definitely something that was important to me. I learned a lot, especially about customer discovery and product market fit. And I continue to learn as I work with a lot of professors in the Black African-American studies space that have been where my company was 15 years ago, but ultimately like in the late 2000s when Black search engines and things like that were coming out. So yes. They were around. So they were able, I'm continuing to learn from them and work with them on what is going to work now to make it successful. So yeah, definitely being in a space that people are supporting your idea and trying to make efforts to make money is incredibly important as a new founder.
Fantastic. I agree 100% there. Can get my thing going. So this is the lean stack journey. And so it's shown in a slightly different way with this 10x growth curve here. And so it shows the kind of phases that you go through. And so Ash, Maria with the leanstack.com. Did you all by the chance use his platform at Georgia State?
Which platform?
It's called Leanstack, but it's.
Oh, no, we didn't use any specific platforms. We focused on being in person and learning from different mentors and experts in their particular fields, considering the entrepreneurship and founder journey.
Yes. So a lot of accelerator companies, universities, they use that Leanstack platform. And because, most startup founders, if they're trying to follow the best practice, they're using the Lean Startup methodology. And what's significant here is that, and what I like about it is this business model design phase here at the beginning. And so that's when you, learn how to design a scalable business model. And then so you can learn how to pitch your business how you make money clearly and concisely, and that's what allows you to bring on co-founders, technical co-founders, whatever. Allows you to get into some of the training programs. It's just that ability to clearly articulate, how you make money with your idea. A lot of folks actually, they pitch their product or service, but it's basically about how you pitch and how you make money, and then you go through these other phases, and you ultimately trying to get up here where you get the product market fit. But what happens with a lot of founders, I've interviewed over 100 founders over the past 2.5 years, and a lot of them are out there wandering around because they're not following a methodology and not for sure what the methodology is. And so the challenge they have is that if you run out of money before you get to the product market fit, you're in trouble. Yeah, and this journey right here could be years out there spending money and finding out that you've got a broken business model. But the idea for the lean startup methodology is you follow the methodology, even though it's tricky and arduous. At least you can come up with a plan that works before you run out of money.
And you know what? What I would say to that is yes, frameworks and different things that can steer you in the right direction for your business.
Mm-hmm.
They're good, but at the same time, when it comes to like being a founder and entrepreneur can be really difficult.
Yes, it is.
And it's one of those things like, yes, you can follow a framework, but also, yes, I really need to wander a bit and kind of figure out what it is that's going to make sense for my business. And a lot of that wandering helps people pivot.
Yeah.
So, yes, frameworks are important.
Yeah.
I've used them. But a lot of being a founder and entrepreneur is wandering because you're really, you see problems and you're trying to solve them with the business, but you're also trying to put yourself in a position to actually make money. And everything's just not going to be right away. Even with product market fit, it's not going to be right away. Sometimes you genuinely have to wander to really figure out how you're going to get to that place.
Yes. But, and that's why the whole idea of leveraging the ecosystem and taking advantage of the ecosystem and being involved in to kind of, making sure you do understand what the best practices are. So I think that's about it. Grover, I think we're going to give you an opportunity to share some of this little update about your loan program. You've been keeping us in suspense for almost a month now. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Lloyd. Good evening, everyone tonight. So glad to be with you guys tonight. Grover Brown with Community Enterprise Investments. And tonight, I just want to share pretty much a little piece of the Impact Loan Fund for Black and Brown entrepreneurs. When we created this fund, it's not just merely a loan fund, but what we did, we basically came up with 3 tiers or 3 levels of this fund. And the implementation of the first phase was to strengthen, pretty much strengthen small businesses, strengthen micro business. We call it capital strengthening, because a lot of times being able to access, small amounts of capital for many small and micro business it is challenging, but it's also life saving. So we looked at what it takes for CEI to normally do a loan and what it would take to be able to give access to those who we could not serve. And so that's what we came up with this first level of the fund. The second level of the fund is all about, once we complete matching everything on our second phase from other capital sources, we'll be able to take businesses that are at tier 1 and provide them the capital that they need to go to tier 2.
Okay.
Along with being able to, with them being able to come in and get a part of our technical assistance, and our series, our Street MBA series, and the promise and the outlook for our third phase of this program is to be able to fund long-term scaling.
Okay.
Once you get to level, tier 2 business, then all of a sudden you're going to have costs that become challenging and as well as become demanding, and that's where you need to access capital, sometimes upwards of 250,000, 150,000, or up to 300,000. So that's where we're looking at taking this particular loan fund. Just so I can give you a brief overview of the fund. Let's see here if I can do the presentation here. Let's see. I don't see my. Okay.
Yeah. When you share it out, I'll see it down and I'll bring it to the.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's not. Well, okay. I'll just use the.
Okay. There's something coming up. Okay.
Are we there yet?
Okay. I see your presentation, but it's not in the show mode. If you can get it into the show mode.
Well, for some reason, I've lost control of my mouse.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a delay here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, our Impact Loan Fund and so this basically, we've been around for a long time, since 1974. We've done a lot in this community, as well as all across the state, and even over in Alabama. So this particular phase of our impact, the initial phase of our Impact Loan Fund for Black and Brown entrepreneurs, basically there's two categories of loan products. One is the short-term loan fund, and this is for minority-owned business owners in need of working capital funds. And what we wanted to do for those small businesses that are not in the lending mode or have not been able to access capital, those that need a good shot in the arm, these are for micro businesses. We basically came up with a loan amount of $5,000, maximum interest rate at 7.5%, and the maximum loan term up to 3 years. And this particular loan is just about accessing capital, being able to access capital. It may not sound like a whole lot, but we get $5,000 requests all the time, day in and day out. And the thing is that we're able to do this without our usual process of collateral. Because normally, if you're going to borrow from CEI or any loan, we are a collateral lender and we look for collateral. The next fund that we have is the non-collateralized SBA microloans, and this goes up to 15,000, and we keep our interest rate at 7.5, and we can do a term of 3 years. I'm sorry, 4 years. We can actually do a term of years on this with a particular loan fund. So for businesses that have been in business at least 1 year, $15,000 becomes a good shot in the arm when you need capital to be able to work a contract, or to be able to get inventory, or or to be able to handle some unforeseen situation. So with these funds, basically the criteria, pretty much interest rate, max loan rate is 5,000 for the short term. Interest rate, maximum term is 3 years. No collateral requirements. 650 minimum credit score, no open collections, lien judgments in the past 24 months, and pretty much basically we look for businesses that have a cash flow that's greater than one. If that business is not cash flowing, then of course we look at another way that we might be able to help out that business. And here it is, the same thing for our other loan fund, accessing $15,000 without collateral, and basically the same terms that apply. These are small amounts, and we wanted to start off with small amounts, basically spreading the opportunity, spreading the amount of capital that small businesses can receive, um, and basically eliminating some of the requirements. It may not sound like much, but when you begin to make collateral easier, I'm sorry, capital easier for small businesses and micro businesses to obtain, all of a sudden they begin to access that 15,000. They'll access that 5,000, and this becomes an opportunity for them to obtain capital. And it might be inventory, it might be $15,000 for something that can help turn that business to a next level. Or it might be something that they can, include their business or whatever it may be to help them take them to the next level or to complete a job. So that's why we decided to start small. Now, as the fund grows, all of these loans, the amount that will become available will increase. So our short-term loan fund, within maybe with not by the end of the year, will go from 5,000 maybe up to 15,000, and then our $15,000 non-collateralized loans for microloans can go up to $25,000. So the whole plan is all about accelerating and growth, and being able to help small businesses access more capital as they strengthen themselves, as they begin to grow. And of course, our usual, required documents that are needed. Of course, business plans for new businesses, market assessments, cash flow projections, you know, 6 months of business bank statements, the resumes of business owner, personal financial statement, personal tax returns, and business tax returns, and of course, the same for existing businesses that have been in business for at least 2 years or more. So that's just a quick down and deep and dirty of the process, behind the scenes on what makes the Impact Loan Fund tick. Our first investment for this fund has been, through the Truist Foundation, which is part of Truist Bank.
Okay.
They basically liked the plan, and they invested $350,000. From that initial seed money, we'll match that, and our goal is to turn that 350 into $1 million. And I must admit we're on our way, believe it or not, to actually doing that. So I don't think we'll have no problem at all on this first phase in doing that. However, just by uh, Truist, saying, "Hey, I like this fund," there are other banks now that have begun to look at this fund, and now they want to invest. So this will allow us to have more capital coming in, making more capital available for this particular loan fund. Our goal is $3 million, and we feel comfortable that we're going to reach that goal in a short term.
Yeah, so right now, it's ready, for Grover about this loan fund. Yeah, from my perspective, Grover, I think you all are probably not going to have any trouble growing it to 3 million, because if these banks, really are interested in supporting Black and Brown found business owners, this is definitely an opportunity and a vehicle to do it. Yeah. So
Right. And the good part, Lloyd, is that as we grow the fund, what's going to happen? We'll take on more SBA products. We'll do the community, become a community advantage lender. We'll
hmm
bring on some of the express products, and we'll couple the SBA programs with the the investment from these other funds and thereby expanding it even more, being able to offer the SBA guarantee off, that's available, will help, you know, basically, we'll be able to help small businesses or grow and be that partner that's able to work with the banks, but that's able to work with other lenders in order to help them to continue to have that capital infusion to grow.
So what region are you covering with this loan?
We're working this. We decided to keep this area of Northwest Florida, Escambia County, Santa Rosa County. We're working in Okaloosa County, Washington, Jackson, and Panama City.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we'll help get the word out, and we'll make a clip of this part of the presentation and get it out there so people can become aware. So they just need to reach out to you all at CEII.
Yes, they can just reach out to us at CEII. The application, hopefully, with the application, the website will be going up, and more information will be being populated, and they'll be able to actually apply online. As a
Okay.
matter of fact, we're hiring an additional business development officer / TA officer that's going to be handling this particular project.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we appreciate you coming on and sharing this with us, and we'll get the word out.
All right, Lord, I appreciate it.
All righty.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye. All righty, thanks for being patient there.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, we've been waiting on him to kind of come on and kind of help share the information. Yeah, Northwest Florida is a little bit different than Atlanta.
I can imagine.
If you know what I mean. Yes. So yeah, yes. So let's get started on your journey and kind of you can kind of help us understand your journey and so I heard you say something about content in your introduction and also your startup. And how do you pronounce your startup? Hi-Hat, or how do you pronounce it?
Yeah, it's called Hi-Hat.
Okay, and so so we definitely want to get some clarity on how to take advantage of that as well. So you told us a little bit about it. So, but what is actually your career? How did you get into the content stuff? And was that something you got exposed to in high school or what?
Yeah, so I've actually been writing my whole life. I started out as a journalist, and then, things in journalism can be so up and down. And as I was graduating, things were transitioning in journalism from print to online. So while I did dabble in both arenas, print and online for journalism, I just focused on really expanding what it means to understand overall. So I started doing marketing writing for events, and I eventually got into full-time roles that supported content that was online for different companies. And I took a lot of that knowledge and just created my own content studio where I work with small businesses and tech startups on their content strategy and what helps reach their business goals as it relates to content use.
Okay, but your expertise in that area, is it like self-taught, or did you learn something in college or something?
It's both. I mean, I've been taking writing classes, and I went to college for bachelor's in journalism, and I've taken classes, but there's a lot of things that is innate, and I kind of taught myself in order to be creative and come up with a lot of different concepts for different strategies. So definitely have the formal education for it, but I also have areas that I taught myself, or I took a class here or there and really tested out and applied it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how do you engage with your clients? Walk us through how somebody maybe found out about what you offer there, and how do you engage with them?
Yeah, so I typically, when I meet with an entrepreneur or a founder or a client, I just kind of walk them through like their business in general. Like, tell me about your business. Tell me who's your audience. Tell me who your target customer is. Tell me the type of content, you know, that you think is best for your business. And then of course, I'll bring in my own ideas. Tell me the voice that you guys have. Tell me the areas that you think content is making the most, you know, doing the most for your business. Because it could just be advertising. You know, every business doesn't need an excessive amount of content. You know, some businesses just need some really good advertising copy or design or something like that. So I definitely work with the founder and entrepreneur, and marketing is an expense that most people do not want to spend money on. So when it comes to like working with them and understanding like what their needs are, I always try to speak to it as like, where can we make the most value for what you're spending? Because yes, people should spend money on marketing, but at the end of the day, when you're a founder, you're a small business owner, you have to focus on where your money's going to get the most value. And sometimes marketing isn't it. Sometimes spending money on training to get better service could get you more money. There's a lot of different things. I tell people all the time, there's a lot of things that can make you more money than social media. If y'all had better service, you might get more money. If you guys just strictly had like some consistent branding, you don't, not even that you need to be marketing, but like people can recognize your brand, you might get more service because people will believe that you're putting effort in what it means to have a business and a brand. So there's a lot of things that can make people money in sales and get them customers. That doesn't have to be a social media strategy.
Yeah. So like, are you working with startups that have a scalable thing, or are they Main Street folks, or both?
No, I typically work with, so I before I used to work with a lot of small businesses that were local, but my content studio and my team, we're transitioning to focusing on tech startups or companies that are more involved with travel, hospitality, events, entertainment, a lot of things that require so many words that are a little bit more creative and actionable, and that require like content that showcases movement. So that's kind of where we're focusing on. And we do content strategy, we do SEO blogs, we do a number of different things for clients that ultimately will help them make more money. And we make recommendations because sometimes a client can come and they'll say, well, I want social media. And it's like, is social media going to really make you more money? Or is there other things that you can do in your business that will make you more money that, you know, makes the most sense? So we don't just take any client. We definitely work directly with the business owner and entrepreneur to make sure that it's a good fit and it makes sense.
Great. Yeah. And so I think when you are building a startup and you're so typically I'm wondering, does you come in when they already have their MVP and actually doing some sales, or can you come in even, you know, pre-MVP or what?
No, we definitely come in when you have already made some money with your startup.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean that you won't pivot, but it means that, you know, because we don't do anything for free. So even as me as a founder, when I had my MVP, I definitely can't, you know, go hire a marketing person to do something MVP. Right. So definitely work with companies that are early stage, already, you know, they've already done all their MVP and their beta testing and they're kind of full launch. Even if they're pre-revenue, sometimes they have small funding or small money they're willing to spend towards certain marketing efforts. And we're open to that. But at the same time, it definitely should be something that's a little bit more finite because, again, we're working with the brand and what's being built. We're not just kind of working on, you know, what may or may not work.
Yeah. So like, so when you putting content out there and trying to get some new customers, or are you, how long before you actually start seeing some results from that? If in terms of new customers.
Yeah, it depends on the company because we typically don't follow through on the reporting end. That's
Hmm.
usually something that the company deals with. We
Okay.
more provide the deliverables. So
Okay.
if they need a new landing page, we're going to provide you the deliverables for that landing page.
Okay.
Far
Okay.
as following, we do follow up to see what kind of success or progress they have. But as far as like us specifically doing the reporting, that's not
Okay.
something we do because they have every business is going to have different metrics, and it's just not something we
Yeah.
were able to keep up with.
Yeah, yeah, and so you're making me think, like if I'm trying to attract new customers, what content do I need? If I'm if,
Mhm.
I- if I'm trying to keep my existing customers, what content
Right.
do I need? And I don't think I've ever thought about it in that in that perspective. But what should a founder think about when it comes to content to actually help them increase their sales?
So there's a lot of things, right? So one, you have to know your audience. I
Hmm.
had a professor, someone that I was working with, tell me, let's say your audience is a Black audience.
Okay.
Black audiences tend to like things that, like, okay, they find joy in discovering things, and they find joy in, the obvious antics of the Black community,
Hmm.
right? So understanding that as a founder who maybe my target audience is Black, I may want to build marketing that speaks to that versus marketing that speaks to being more formal, more professional, things like that. And that doesn't mean that you don't have people in your audience that are professional or that would like something like that, but users and consumers, they're not dumb. So a
Hmm.
professional person who maybe wants a more professional look of something is willing to dumb down a little bit because they recognize that, okay, this is their branding,
Hmm.
versus someone who is super professional up here, but that's not your main audience. Your audience can't come up to that level.
Okay.
So it's all about understanding who your audience is and then knowing, okay, if my audience is like this, my content should be targeting to my audience like this. If my audience is a different kind of way, then I need to be building content that speaks to that. And it's just so many different types of content. There's videos, there's podcasts, there's social media, there's pamphlets, there's email marketing, there's text message marketing, there's, billboards, which is called out of home. So there's billboards, there's bus stop signs, there's uh, ads you can do on the back of the grocery store receipt. There's radio ads. So there's so many different type of advertising and content. Excuse me. So
Hmm.
many different kind of ads and content that you can put together, and everything just really, really determines on the target audience you're trying to reach. Because, like you said, it could be new customers, it could be recurring customers. Like there's just so much. And like I said, there's some innate things that someone could do that has nothing to do with marketing that will help you get better content or better response and revenue versus just doing another marketing strategy.
Hmm.
And that's just the truth.
Okay, gotcha. So, like, I'm surprised, with the audience that we haven't got any questions, because about the marketing part, because that is tricky, for a founder to know what they should actually be doing in order to kind of um, because when you start marketing, like that, what you do today you may not see the results of it for a month or two from now. But if you're not doing anything, you're creating a dry spot,
Yeah.
for your company.
And
So
there's two things that really are important when it comes to marketing for a founder. So one, you're either trying to position your brand to be looked at a certain way. So maybe you're
okay,
positioning it to look like the number one company, or position it to be like the fun company versus the more serious. Like your marketing is either positioning you, or
okay,
your marketing is trying to get you more, revenue.
Gotcha.
So those are, two different things. Yes, there's some strategies that can do both, but it's really important to understand which one you're trying to do. Because again, like I said, there's things you can do that's not marketing that can position you to be better in the future, right? So like customer service training, doing a certain remodel of your website or your branding across online platforms. There's a lot of different things that a company can do to position themselves to be able to get more revenue in the future versus just trying straight for revenue.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I don't see any questions for you on the marketing side. I can ask this one last thing on the marketing is, so like with this partnership that we're doing with Blacks in Technology, and the idea is to kind of make the foundational information accessible to all the Black founders, and so because I guess some people can't get into accelerator program, or you may not get the consulting to kind of help you design a scalable business model. And I find a lot of folks actually out there starting businesses and don't really know that they actually, if they wanted to, they could actually design a business model that's scalable, as opposed to designing one or having one that's not. And so our dilemma is, folks realize they don't have all the information that they need, but they go ahead and get started, which I don't blame them. I would get started and do something too.
Yeah.
But the question is how do you communicate the opportunity for these founders to get this foundational information that they normally don't have access to?
I mean, that's really, that's also like asking, how do you get financial literacy out to communities?
Yes.
All those kind of things really are just step by step. That's how I believe. There's no massive, even in like non-Black communities, there's no massive like financial literacy course that all white people take when they grow up.
No.
Like that's not how that works, right? So the real thing that is happening typically is their families are having conversations with them, and they're seeing different type of things happen within their families that allow them to have that knowledge, whether they use it or not, right? Whether they use it or not, they have that. So what we're trying to do when we're trying to give access to understanding more about business models and funding and scaling businesses and not being such a consumerist community and building things that will scale and become essential in the market, those are just things that are just going to be ongoing and day by day. It's just not something you can force a whole bunch of people into. So for me, if it's a marketing side, my approach would just be to partner with places where people they're essential to someone's well-being or life. And that is where they have to learn the content. So if kids are going to school, then you're partnering with schools and you're saying, hey, like, we want to bring in someone to talk for 30 minutes about our program. We want to do it every semester. And that's just going to be continuously instilling that, hey, we got to have this, ceremony. Yeah, you won't get all 500 kids, but you'll get like 10. And those are just going to be the ones that, get to the next place. Like, that's the marketing strategy. The marketing strategy cannot always be to get hundreds and thousands of people to, insulate into something. It's really a matter of those chosen few who are going to escalate it, because there's always going to be programs that for people to join into, and it's just not going to be a program that everyone does.
Right. I agree 100%. Yeah, because a person, have to be looking for what you have, and you got to get that connection going. There's no silver bullet as they.
Yeah, they're either looking for it or it's being forced upon them so they don't know. Like the only reason I type fast, I type like maybe 75 words per minute. So the only reason I type fast is because my mom forced me to type when I was young because she was a teacher.
Yeah.
Like if she never did that, it's almost incredibly likely I would not be a fast typer. So that's why I'm like, either someone's looking for this information or someone it's being forced upon them and they'll know about it and make their own choice to act on it or not. So that's a level of marketing as well.
Yeah, so let's switch to your startup Hi Hat and kind of tell us kind of what the deal is on that. What you're trying to accomplish there.
Yeah, so Hi Hat is a Black search engine. It makes the search for all things Black fast, very easy. So instead of going to any other major search engine and typing in Black owned or Black this or African American this, you can literally come to our search engine and just type in whatever it is you're looking for, and you have the option to find those things without questioning if it's Black owned or Black founded or Black led, Black operated. Like you don't have to question it. We guarantee every link Black every time. And it just makes things easier. And when I was building the company, what I found, there's a guy that I follow that I watched him earlier today, actually. He said, spend like a few weeks looking at people doing their routine and understanding more of what they do not like. And when you realize what they don't like, that's where you can kind of fit yourself in to create a successful business. So for me, building Hi Hat, from what I understand, all my community and even myself, it irritates me that it takes me so many steps to find something that is Black owned. And yes, there's Black marketplaces. Yes, there's Black directories, but a lot of times they're antiquated. A lot of times they're not up to date in terms of how their websites run. And a lot of times you don't have any information on them. You kind of just have the link. So you don't know if it's good, if it's bad, if it's not a good option, and a lot of things that we're living now, we're basing off of reviews. We're basing it off of our friends and family like it, or if they used it. It's like a next level word of mouth. So for me, building Hi Hat is the first step to it is let's get people to the links faster.
Okay.
And then after that, okay, let's create a system where people can, help qualify the links that are there by our voting system, which is similar to reddit.com, where you can literally vote on each search result, like if it's a good one, if it's a bad one. And it helps our algorithm understand better of like, okay, this is a good link. Okay, that's not a really good link. And, we have that system on the back end as well. So we're building in pieces of social where you can really have those different connections with your friends and family as you're voting. And then we're also building community and quickly circulating the dollar by making it faster for people to find services, products, media, maps, everything.
Okay. So what has what the response has been to your approach? Because there's definitely, like you say, a lot of directories out there.
Yeah, you know what? You can type in anything, but let me just think of something. You can type in home decor, and I can kind of walk you through. So most people's response is pretty positive. We do have a contact email on our blog, so people can, and on our search engine, so people can always, respond and say, hey, like, I didn't see this on your search engine. Can you add it? And we do the work on our back end to add it, because things like the maps feature, which is called places on our search engine, that causes us to have to find, everything has to be inputted. It's not a situation where it's something that you can just, it just comes into the map. Like, but in order for us to make sure every link is Black owned, we have to verify every link and entry that comes in. And that's very important to us. So whenever we have people who want to put brick and mortars or people who are looking for therapists, we have to physically insert those right now because we want to make sure that it's verified Black owned.
Gotcha. I think when I logged on here, I didn't let it get my location, so it's not.
Yeah, that's something we're working on because we want to be able to fixate location like Google. But so a lot of things people don't know is that whether you block your location on Google or not, they still have it. So that's something that a lot of people don't realize, that it's actually, it's still collecting your data and where you are, whether you say, but ours actually says like, do you want us to accept your location or not? So that's something that we do. And also too, the advertising, which I was going to show you as well. You can do like, I don't know, Airbnb, and I can show you like our ads. If I have an ad for Airbnb, I don't know. Oh, we do have places though. So we have so this is like part of our places feature. Clarion is a Black-owned hotel in Atlanta, but also too, people can do ads on our search engine. So I'm trying to think who has an ad up right now, because it's under different keywords. You can go back to home decor. I know there's an ad on home decor.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's two ads for home decor. So what happens is companies reach out to us, and we have an annual plan that allows for someone to put a ad on a certain keyword. And to what we tell companies, again, part of marketing, Hi-Hat is a more qualified search engine for your ad, because if you put your ad on Google, this same ad, if they put it on Google, it's going to be amongst 5 other ads. And those, if I'm looking for Black owned specifically, I'm not going to know which one of those ads are Black owned. So you're almost like, you're battling a lot of different factors when it comes to Google, versus if you do it on Hi-Hat, people who come to Hi-Hat already know, okay, I want a Black, owned company who's going to be able to do what I'm looking for, or help me discover what I'm looking for. And if you have an ad there, if someone clicks it, you don't get charged per click, you only get charged per month. And ultimately, they're going to trust that, they already trust that business has what they have to offer.
So like you're saying, all the ads are Black-owned ads as well?
All the ads are Black-owned ads. If they were Black-owned, it would be very clear, but it's very unlikely. The only thing we would put on our website, which we're working on those partnerships now, is, let's say one of the companies, because our search engine goes down to the specific product link. So let's say someone's looking for a feminine product, and that product is sold at Walmart. So we would have a badge on the search result that's like a Walmart logo. And it would help someone understand, like, hey, you can find this at Walmart, but you can also purchase it online. It's up to you. So those are the only ways we would have something that's non-Black, because at the end of the day, like, people, we still have to respect that Walmart, Target, all these particular corporations still sell Black products. So we need to be able to notify customers that they can get it at these businesses as well. And that still helps those businesses.
Yeah. Looks like Quinn has a question there.
Okay. How are you getting businesses to join the search engine? So we have a claim your business form. It's very simple. It probably takes no more than 60 seconds for you to add your business. Once you submit it, it goes into our system, and we verify it. Once we verify it, we verify it to say yes, then it kicks over into our actual technical system, and it gets crawled. So that's how you see all these links. They're all crawled links from a website.
So, yeah. I guess I still got that in there.
Yeah,
So
you can look up anything. Like, I mean, I can't say what the results are going to be when they come up, but you can look up anything coffee, you can look up banking. Um, I know we have some therapists in there, we have some doctors in there.
yes, and I noticed you did a Chrome, what do you call it, plug-in or whatever?
For what?
A Chrome, you got like a Chrome plug-in.
Yes, yes, we have a Chrome plugin. So what happens is when you download the plugin, it'll be on your browser.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, you can click on the plugin and just type in what you're looking for, and it'll pop up just like this as a website.
Yeah, so let's. I think I didn't pin it to the.
Oh, it's okay.
But I do have it. I did go ahead and install it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like so you're so like I said, there's so many directories out there, and so uh, I guess as a business owner, and I think this is what part of what Quinn was asking too is how do you kind of make more people aware of the difference in what you have out there and and what a lot of these other sites as far as getting more places on here.
I think that so I think when people see our website, they typically know that it's different.
Yes.
It looks like a search engine. It doesn't look like a marketplace. And we actually, it's important to us to include allies as well, to include non-Black users as well, because at the end of the day, like we can't dismiss that there's biracial people, there's interracial relationships, there's
Yes.
people with Black children or grandchildren or whatever, and these like having a more blank slate of hi-hat is to us is more important than blasting a whole bunch of African American marketing, because I feel like we've reached a part in the Black owned movement space where things are starting to look a bit corny, a bit forced, a bit, everything is just everywhere, and only the strongest are going to survive coming out of this whole Black owned movement space since George Floyd and COVID. So
Mm-hmm.
for us, it's important that we maintain a really neutral space in providing people what they're looking for when it comes to Black owned, versus just being really adamant about what kind of marketing we're using and how we're differentiating ourselves. We look different than any other Black owned marketplace or directory. So we like to keep it that way so people can clearly understand what we're doing different.
So as far as places, are you mainly looking at places that are selling stuff like shops or retail, or are you considering putting resources on the in your directory?
Yeah, so we actually have so what actually is most important to us right now is getting actual services out to people. What we found in our customer discovery is that most Black people do not have any kind of problem finding a Black owned product typically, especially an essential one. But they do have issues finding services like a Black doctor, a Black mechanic, a Black plumber, a
Yeah.
Black, hairstylist, all those type of things, Black chef. Like when they want to find those things, they have no idea where to go except to maybe ask their friends, and their friends maybe not know. And then on top of that, really knowing if the person does a quality service or not. So we are focused on building that into our places feature. Yes, we have the services tab, but we do have places that showcase therapists and doctors. If you put in Atlanta doctors or Atlanta therapists or whatever city you live in, we're building up that entire database to fulfill in the places feature. So maybe they don't have a clinic, but they serve a certain area. We're able to put that in the places feature as well.
Gotcha. So you're not taking if you know something as a Black business, you're not just automatically adding it. Or you like if you had a verified list of Black businesses, would you add it to your directory?
Yeah, but it still will require people claiming their business because one thing that we don't do is like, let's say someone has a business on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
We can't put that on our search engine because Instagram is a very large place, and like us to just put the link inside of our database, it would not really function well. But if somebody wanted to do an ad and they have an Instagram page where they say that sell their products, they can do that.
Okay.
So it's not about like, okay, I just have a business, I'm going to go claim it and put, we don't accept social links. We find that it's really important that, one, for a business to scale, they definitely need to have more than an Instagram page. And for two, we just want to make sure that people are understanding the limits that they're doing their business if they are only providing a social link.
Okay. So I guess we're a little bit over time here, but what I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of, share any last minute recommendations or thoughts for our founders out there when it comes to the marketing or, being listed in a directory like yours.
Yeah, so Hi-Hat is a search engine, and we focus on all things Black, all in one place. And it's really important that, when you're a Black business, again, especially a Black small business, your money when it comes to marketing is so important. And it's really important that you look at who your audience is and what's the most affordable way to reach them. And don't be afraid to do something different. And also remember consistency. So understand your audience, be open to something different, and just be consistent. And those are going to be the things that make a difference when it comes to you really building your business and scaling it. Definitely check out hihat.com, hiihat.com, and you can claim your business there. And you can also start advertising with us. We're way more affordable than any other search engine. And also, you would just be able to get more qualified businesses and traffic to your company. So definitely share with a friend, definitely check us out. And we are so excited to have you on the site.
Fantastic. We really appreciate that. And so I wanted to announce that we're headed down to Tampa next week to the Synapse conference, and we're definitely looking forward to that. It's a startup showcase, and about 7,000 attendees, and it's like a full day of pitching your business to founders, investors, and ecosystem folks. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to go down, but last year, the whole day just wears you out. It's, you're constantly around a bunch of people, but we're there. So this is kind of like an event, and they're giving away $250,000 down there. So it's I hope some folks are successful with that, and a lot of good things going on, and we'll be formally announcing our partnership with Blacks in Technology, and we have a Blacks in Technology booth down there as well as a Kukua booth. And Quinn, the founder, is asking all those questions. He went last year and he's going back this year, so that'll be great. So Ngozi, we're excited to have you on tonight, and we really appreciate you coming and sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
And we'll get the word out about Hi-Hat and your services so folks can take advantage of it. We'll see everybody next week, and bye-bye, everyone. Have a good weekend and a good start for the next week.
All right. Thank you.